Welcome everyone, I'm bringing you my coverage of Kart Madness. Now what this is it's a content creator tournament being hosted by Jack the Dark Blue Yoshi. I'll put a link in the description below to his channel. What this tournament is it's in line, very faithful to March Madness. So it's a little bit of a different format as far as competitive Mario Kart Tour is concerned. It's double elimination, which means that a team can lose one time and still proceed in the competition. They then move to the loser's bracket, and the winner from the winner's bracket will face the winner from the loser's bracket in the grand finale. And the rule set for this tournament is 150cc, friendly fire is off, default item slots, and we're doing 6 races without bots. If connection issues occur, those matches don't count towards the final tally. And of course, all of that is up to the discretion of the tournament's host, Jack, in terms of making rulings for that. What I'll be doing is I'll be sharing my coverage from the screen recordings of the races that I raced in. Alongside my team, we have unique strategies. So what I'll be doing is I'll be analyzing both my play, the strategy of my teammates alongside what I'm doing, as well as maybe deciphering some of what the opponents are doing, and then putting that all together to perhaps expand your understanding of multiplayer and competitive side of Mario Kart Tour. Multiplayer deserves to have a lot more coverage. It's a format that I've personally gravitated towards, despite some of my best efforts to not become overly competitive in it, since I am not a part of one of the official Clan War leagues. However, I often intermingle with players that are involved, and I'm constantly picking up tips and strategies, just not only for understanding what that experience is like, but also applying that to how it differs for standard races, which is my native format, the one that I'm most familiar and comfortable with. It's the one that we all play to achieve Kart Pro and those resource challenge boards when they do come around. So who will this series be good for? Well, I think it will be interesting from either a newcomer perspective or a veteran perspective, since the newcomer perspective, a lot of the tips and suggestions that I'll be providing will undoubtedly take your game to the next level. Even if you can so much as take out one single strategy on a track, then that will increase your competitiveness and your ability to enjoy and have fun with the multiplayer format, as well as providing this platform to the more serious multiplayer folks that are out there. And I think maybe if this is a really popular series, we can see more installments with perhaps different formats and maybe even get some league coverage. We'll see how it goes. In the opening match, we drew the tournament host team, Jack the Dark Blue Yoshi with his Yoshi clan. Of course, I am representing the Jungle Juggernaut. We have Philish on the team, we have Isai on the team, and we have Bolt on the team, as well as a few alternate players who, due to time zone constraints, were not able to participate in this one, such as Alpha 69 as well as Justin C. In team multiplayer, things are a bit different than in standard multiplayer races, right? Because it's about the team score. So you're looking for certain combinations of placement in order to have your team win. Of course, you don't need to come in first place in order for your team to win. You can come in second, third, fourth, and fifth, or second, third, fourth, and sixth. There are many different combinations that will lead to a victorious outcome for your team. So the strategy takes on a different kind of composition when you're doing these kind of races. So what our strategy is in this situation is to have a bagger, that is to say someone who is going to sandbag. They're going to stay at the back and they're going to control lightnings or shocks, as they're more commonly known in the multiplayer lingo. And when you can only have one of those items out at a particular time, and once that's rolled, it can be held onto until the optimal time and then used in such a way so that we can have our 3 runners, myself, Philish, and Isai, to put in the work on the critical point to produce the best result that we possibly can. So that's kind of our mindset going into this. Another thing too is that since friendly fire is off, When you follow the same line as your teammate, you can kind of swipe off the items that each of your teammates are holding on to. That becomes a little bit problematic in terms of having defensive items then for the opposing team that's going to be coming forward and using, shell items. And also the key thing is also, if you are in a top 3 position with your team where it's 1, 2, 3, and 8th, then you don't have any percentage chance to roll a blue shell, which is going to be seen in 5th and 6th place in these 8-player races. So that's also something that needs to be addressed at any time if that first place player doesn't have a shroom or a super horn to dodge the blue shell, or if there's not any hazards on the track that they can use to kind of like pseudo dodge the shell, then it's basically next player up to take control of the match. So these are some of the context that we're taking going into this match, and to see how things go from there. So given that this is a fun tournament, it's not completely competitive by nature. I'm going with the Dixie Kong. Triple Banana is still one of the best special skills to have in multiplayer, but it's not hard. It's not that, extremely competitive tier item. And going with the Egg 1, it is a super with a mini turbo plus, and the super has a lower duration on the mini turbos. However, the turning radius on the Egg 1 is extraordinarily narrow, so that you can, turn on the dime basically. So I'm going with that cart. Very ideal to place the kind of cart that you're using to the track that you're racing on. Sky Garden has a lot of those hairpin kind of turns. And then the Mushroom Plus glider to get through these shortcuts, such as the one right here through the Piranha Jack the Beanstalk like design there. So this is kind of a point in the race where everybody's just cluttered together and we're just seeing where things coalesce. Philish naturally taking an early lead on things, and then myself and Isai are kind of condensed in that next pack area. I don't have smart steering off here, so we saw Philish take the shortcut. Ideally, you want to have smart steering off. That's something I really should have had on. It's just generally I like racing with smart steering on. But it can be turned off mid-race. You can go off your line if you do it at the wrong time. So perfect position here. We have 1st and 3rd with 8th place. And then I saw my teammate kind of dive below the vine net there, and I was like, something just happened, disconnection, which is unfortunate because we had premium position on that one. But these things happen. So this is a match that's going to get wiped from the slate. Let's fast forward ahead to see what the next match is. We have Mario Circuit 1, and I'll be going with Dixie Kong here. I'm gonna have some fun. We're going with the Rambi Runner. Bigger hitbox, not ideal for multiplayer. So if you are playing just to win, you wanna have a smaller hitbox than the Rambi. Rambi isn't the hugest one that's out there, but does leave you more vulnerable to getting hits. And once again, we'll be going with the Mushroom Glider because Mario Circuit has a number of shortcut areas. And once again, going in with the same strategy where each of our roles are defined. Bolt is going to control the shocks and we'll each be running here. So let's see what we see here. Always want to take the tightest line, which often involves skipping the line that you would do in single player mode. So you see that Philish and I here take this very narrow line along the inside, and that's much quicker than taking the jump boost from over on the left-hand side at the start of that track here. So this is a good spot. Similar kind of setup as the first match where we're condensed near the top. Gonna skip the jump boost once again, keep that close line. It's kind of neck and neck there. Isai takes the shortcut, so that is the value of the mushroom, folks. Very good, that's what you wanna do there. So I grabbed the double shroom. This is the value of having that shroom glider. You need 2 shrooms to get through the maximum effect of that shortcut. You can kind of take it shallow with just a single shroom, but the effect is much more marginal there. So you really want to take this clean line right up the side there. That's way better than taking the jump boost once again. Don't roll a defensive item, but I have Isai kind of guarding me, so hopefully he's holding on to defensive items then. You can see that now I have defensive items and I'm going to hold on to them. And we're just all going to be running. We're all going to be taking this similar line here. I'm expecting one of them to pick up a shroom, as Isai does there, and he takes the shortcut. So here, this is the problem with the bigger hitbox, right? We hit the piranha pipe, so it's okay to be a little bit sloppy in this situation, since things are pretty secure here. Looks like a positive result. And there's the shock. So Bolt now is making his charge. This is the kind of thing, it would be interesting to have all of our screen footages montaged into a single one to really show the different perspectives. The best I could do here is kind of describe what the team approach is, and then to kind of put yourself in the mindset of what each player might be thinking there. Because I mean, that's an essential placement for Bolt. He did a really tremendous job in this set in controlling the shocks and using them at the right time. It's a very difficult task. It's harder than running, in my opinion. I mean, I watched his footage after his races and I had nothing but compliments to say, because that is a lot more methodical and strategic than just simply running, okay? You know, and obviously as we're running too, you know, we don't want to swipe off each other's items, because the item frequency, of course, unless we have players also commanding the 5th and the 6th position, going to be susceptible to those blue shells. So here we're going with Rock Mountain, Dixie Kong once again, in the Rambi, of course. Now, I always feel like my line is lacking a little bit here in the beginning, so I really keen in onto what Philish is doing, and that's a very aggressive set of mini turbos right along the mountain cave there. Really well done by Philish. So I'm now back in my position from my suboptimal line, and then I get back spam there by Philish, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that does afford me now actually the star, which I can take a shortcut for. So Rock Mountain has a very nice shortcut in after the second glider section here. So you can cut across the grass, and there's actually another item box that you can get too. So slipping on that banana there is no big deal for me, but what it does do is it kind of makes my line a little bit janky, and I missed the item box. So now I'm itemless, which is okay because I have protection from a teammate immediately behind me. Now in this situation, since my line isn't perfect, I'm actually taking the glider section, okay? But if your line is perfection, we can see how Philish sped ahead there. Really clean line, is just a little bit ahead of what the glider section can do. But now I'm set up perfectly because I did fall back. I have these 2 shrooms, so now I can execute that shortcut the same way I did with the Superstar. Of course, it takes 2 shrooms to get through a shortcut of that length. So if you just have a single mushroom, that's not going to cut it. You're going to have to take that very shallow, and it's not going to be nearly the same effect there. So I'm looking ahead. Looks like I can cut into first place with this actually, which is remarkable. And then I end up pulling 2 defensive items. So I'm feeling pretty secure about this, especially because Philish is right behind me. He's going to overtake me, in fact, here. So GG on that one. And we get shocked right at the finish line. So it appears that Bolt didn't have it locked on the shock there, but he still managed to come in 7th place, which, you know, every point that you can get is critical. So once again, I feel like we did a really good job in just kind of executing those roles, and also learning and kind of adapting to each other's play. There's a lot of fun stuff that goes into multiplayer, especially these team events. I find it a lot more immersive than the single player type multiplayer of which I'm accustomed to, that we would each be going for Kart Pro in those situations. So and if we notice also, Jack's points reset. So he was getting disconnected on these, and also having trouble rejoining the lobby, which was kind of unfortunate because it was reducing the quality of the series. And certainly, given that it happened on both sides, it's unfortunate. Nobody really wants to have that happen, and actually, he was trying to stream this, I remember he told me, and he wanted us to do like kind of like a collective group chat. So, I mean, maybe it's a good thing that we didn't, in fact, because that may have made the situation even worse than it was, since we did have at least a fair number of good races here. So in Sky Gardens, the normal variant, the shortcut with smart steering off is at the beginning of the track as opposed to the end of the track there. So Isai is out in front. This is a great setup here. So I have a red to, you know, trail behind Isai. So my job in this situation is to provide that buffer for Isai so that he can hold on to first position. And then, you know, if someone were to have a blue shell, I'm also trying to avoid his green shell, which appeared to be backfired there. And then he swiped off the red shell. So this is part of the learning curve when it comes to this team multiplayer is, you know, not, yeah, lose the banana again. So we're losing these defensive items because we do have the same line, but it's kind of forgivable on Sky Garden because the track is so narrow and it's really hard to kind of take alternative lines on this track. That's for sure. So, you know, good execution there with the shortcut, and that's a GG also. So, interesting track Sky Garden is. Personally, it's not one of my favorite multiplayer tracks. There's a lot to do on it in terms of multiplayer that does make it one that I would like to like, but the narrowness of that track, particularly when it comes to just single player multiplayer mode, right, can really make it difficult, especially because items can sometimes just take out everyone within the pathway, whether that be like a bullet bill or a Bowser shell. There's really not much wiggle room there. So it's a good thing that the shortcuts exist. That kind of still makes it, you know, a viable, fun multiplayer track. But this one we have Yoshi Circuit Rt, and for this one, it's interesting because you see that I'm going with the Egg 1 cart again, and you might be saying, what's the decision-making process on that one, KG? This is a trick track, right? Reverse trick. But the thing is, it's not just based on the title, it's based on the course layout here. And the best line is actually avoiding most of the jump boosts. And I'll kind of point out a little bit of that as we go through this here. But that's a key thing to keep in mind is sometimes you want to use a jump boost cart on a track that's not trick. If there are a lot of jump boosts, such as Choco Island. Certainly, pretty much all of the Choco Islands are very good for jump boost plus carts. So I take the shortcut, hold on to one shroom, and have a defensive item, but I had teammates behind me, so we see the effect of that there. Now this is the section I'm talking about. You want to take this really tight line here, and we can see that I avoided the jump boost, and I got the Ultra Mini Turbo out, and now this is a very hectic race. Just looking at this, wow. So I take the shortcut and I end up, my line converges with an opponent who has a Bob-omb trailing them. So that was really difficult. And of course there's no shortcut through the cutouts on the reverse trick variant. So there was no point in holding on to shrooms in that spot. But I'm looking at the setup here. Philish has it in hand. I mistimed the release of my triple banana, which was inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, but it is something that I would need to clean up on for sure in the future. So I'm taking that really nice tight line. I'm trying to avoid any contact with my opponent who's oh so close there. And I really made a mistake by using that superstar right there because I could have saved it for the shortcut up ahead. And that was a mistake actually. And Philish, in fact, had even given me a heads up about that before the race, and I still, sometimes the speed of things just takes over, and that's the lack of experience when it comes to these team situations. I'm not used to being in that spot where I'm thinking about like, okay, where exactly do I need to hold this item for? And that's really only something that you can experience in this team setup, but we can see there, Jack's team actually came in with first place, but the Jungle Juggernauts have second, third, and fourth position yeah, and Bolt finishes in 7th, so that's going to be good enough in terms of points for the victory here, although we still got beat first at the line. So this is a really good example of how team multiplayer, it's its own experience. So Tony's been putting in a lot of good races on this. Really well done, Tony. So the next one up, we have Calamari Desert 2 RT. Now this is one of the trick tracks then where we do want the jump boost, okay? Narrow sections of the track, numerous jump boosts, no question about it. Wasn't really sure what to use for my glider here. This is one where I was a little bit on the fence on. I ended up continuing with the mushroom glider. Now there's not many shortcuts to take in the reverse trick version of Calamari Desert 2. However, I was figuring, okay, I'm gonna be in that like 2 to 6th place position, probably the majority, if not the entire length of the race, and that provides me a lot of flexibility with catching up or maintaining my position, right? So here we go. Take a little bit of a wide line. I actually recommend taking the narrow line and avoiding the jump boost. That wasn't perfectly executed on my part in that situation. I have a banana for single defense, which is now lost. So I burned the blooper. It's no help. And hopefully we roll better items here. Yeah, a little bit of strange stuff happened there. A lot of hits. That's just to do with connection. Everybody deals with it, and it's just, you know, get onto your line basically from that point, right? There's no complaining or crying about, you know, what happened, right? I mean, it happens to everybody, so it's just, you know, you make do with the spot that you're given, and that's really the approach that you want to take on multiplayer, whether you're having fun or whether you're approaching it competitively, is to just not get, you know, taken to a lower resonance, you know, from what's going on, because it is so hectic, and it's easy to get frustrated or to get angry at it. But you know, it's important to keep a cool head with that and to just kind of like wipe the memory slate clean. You know, a lot of times, you know, you're in a premium position and stuff can happen. But so there is actually an interesting one. This was close on points. I was surprised to see that our team outscored them on that track, since they did have 1st and 3rd. We had only 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. So that was our lowest quality race there, and still managed to hold on to the points. So all in all, good game, Yoshi Clan. Very formidable opponents, and it was a lot of fun. Unfortunate with some of the disconnection issues that occurred on Jackson in my end, particularly his end, because he had to re-lobby a couple times. So, you know, I hope you all enjoyed this look at multiplayer. We're gonna have more episodes of this because there's more rounds of footage that are already in the books. Can the Jungle Juggernauts take it all the way? We'll see. There's a lot of good competition out there. The next team up is Frenzy Fans, so that's going to be a hot one. You know it. If you like this content, please leave a thumbs up on the video. Leave comments below. Tell me about your multiplayer experiences. Maybe are there specific things you want me to focus on when analyzing these races? I myself, while I am not competitive in Mario Kart Tour's league atmosphere, I do bring with me over a decade of competitive gaming experience, but really open to what I can do with this series, and I haven't set in stone, so you can have a say in that discussion. So please leave me your thoughts on that. And as always, if you're not a subscriber to the channel, we're almost at 1,000. It means so much. Once we can hit the partnership with YouTube at 1,000, we'll really excel with the kind of content that we can deliver here. Hope you all enjoy, and I'll be seeing you next time. Take care, everybody.